Welcome back to the Road to 1 Million podcast. Today, I'm back with Chris DiGiovanni, the owner and founder of Detailer's Roadmap. For those of you guys that don't know, Detailer's Roadmap is a website developer for some of the top detailing shops throughout the world. In fact, Chris and his team have built probably close to 50% of the websites for guests I've had on this show. Today, Chris and I are going to be talking about what things top shops do that separates them from everyone else. We're going to be talking about what things you guys can be doing in 2026 to stay ahead of the competition. We're going to be talking about some cool website and Google business page tips and tricks. And I also have an exciting announcement to make. The Road to 1 Million and Detailer's Roadmap is partnering up. Chris and his team are going to be completely rebuilding our website within our detailing business. And we're going to be sharing with you guys over the coming months insights into website traffic and lead forms and even our sales to show what difference a professionally made website that Chris and his team have made for us can make with inside of our detailing business. So I'm excited and I can't wait to share with you guys more about this journey. Chris and I have a lot of cool things lined up. So I'm excited for that as well. And I had asked Chris if there was anything he could do for you guys as listeners of this podcast. And so if you guys have been interested in getting your current website audited to see which ways you can be improving, Chris has agreed to do a free audit of your site. This is exclusive for Road to 1 Million listeners. If you're interested in moving forward with a website from these guys, they're going to be giving 10% off the initial deposit or a free citation boost, which is something that's valued at over $700. We're going to be having this done here soon, and we'll talk more about that on this week's episode. Hope you guys enjoy and can find some kind of value in the podcast. Don't forget to use the timestamps in the description if you'd like to skip ahead. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Oh, and one more thing I forgot. If you guys are interested in reaching out to Detailer's Roadmap, just click on the link in the show notes and mention that you're a Road to 1 Million listener, and these guys will get you taken care of. All right, let's get into the podcast. All right, Chris, thanks for coming back on the podcast, man. I'm excited to have you back on round 2.
Let's do it. Let's party on.
Did you have a good Christmas?
I did. It was pretty fun. Relaxed a little bit. Everybody here at work has this whole week off. So I kind of, if they listen to this, they're like, yes. If I listen to this back, I'm like, why not give them the whole week off, work for 3 days, and then we take them all to Mexico the week after. So
you guys are all going to Mexico?
Yeah, I take my team to Mexico if they hit certain goals. So they can take them and then their spouse if they're married. So we're taking like 20 people down to Mexico on January 7th. So,
well, cool. Well, I'm excited to have you back on the podcast, Chris. And there's going to be, we're going to do a few more of these here coming up too. But man, I feel like everyone's given me such good feedback about the first episode we did.
Nice.
Just so many like little golden nuggets in that episode. So I'm excited to talk with you more today and hopefully provide a little bit more nuggets here and there.
Let's do it. Nugget time. Dino nuggets.
Selfishly, a lot of the questions I think I asked in the first podcast, as well as today, will be probably focused around me, but I think a lot of people can relate.
Yeah.
So, but, and one of the things I'd reached out to you about was this 4 months ago or so was, I guess we can kind of start there, was we were talking about what things separate a top shop from everyone else that's kind of doing a little bit more like mediocre, because it's not just the website. It's not just the reviews. It's a lot of things that work well together.
Yep.
I mean, one of those things I think is just content in general. Like you are just, you've preached about it for so long about getting in front of the camera and being personable, and people do business with people. Putting an about section on our website, which we can talk a little bit more about that here in a minute too.
Yeah.
But is there anything going into 2026 that you think people need to be doing to separate themselves from the competition?
Wow. I mean, such a big question. I think everybody's like kind of in this AI trend, which is like a real thing. If I use AI, it's going to help me. It's going to do everything for me. And going into like 25, 26, I think if people start thinking of like tools like that, of like, can I use AI to help me figure out what's the best posts I made throughout the whole year? Or can I, use certain tools or functions to kind of help me separate myself from the competition? Because I think the younger guys like yourself are like way ahead of the game when it comes to like new tools or social media. And I think a lot of people, maybe even in my own age bracket, like 30s, 40s, 50s, like they're going to start wondering why such the young guys are having such faster ramp up. And it's because you guys are so more earlier to adopt stuff that, you're willing to try out, if that makes sense. I know that
Hmm.
was kind of a ramble, but uh, I think a lot of 26 is going to be, how can I communicate better? Or how can I use tools better to elevate my business? Not just polish, not just add PPF, not just add window tint. Um, I've noticed it in all of 25, and I think it's going to get worse in 26, is that it's getting like harder to contact customers and like get decisions, like get them on the phone or get them in the shop. If you get them on the phone, get them in the shop, pretty much done, not done deal, but it's, the close goes up quicker. But how many of them, I mean, you have a shop, how many of them just want to text, they
Yeah.
don't want to make any conversation with you at all.
For
Um,
window tint, sometimes I get some of those clients, but rarely for ceramic coatings or anything higher than paint protection film.
yeah. And I think your early adoption of like, let me try a few things for a couple months and see what works. I think people really got to start getting into that mentality that there used to be the old recognition of 6 to 8 touches and you're going to get a decision, a yay or a nay. And I think a lot of people are really screwed up from 21 and 22, where like you could have had a shop and we do PPF and you were just going to sell. There was a lot of money floating around. And I think business in general, especially in the past like 12 months, has gotten a lot harder. And I think your adoption to getting decisions with tools like AI or sending videos to customers right out of the gate. Like, hey, I'm Josh from Belk Detailing. I just saw you send in a form about PPF. I'm working on this vehicle right now. I'll get back to you. I think it's going to take a lot of little interactions to understand what's working. Um, if you kind of sat and just assume people are going to always come to you, like it was 21 and 22 again, I think if this year wasn't the harsh reality, 26 probably will be.
Hmm. Yeah, I've noticed you guys have the Detailers Roadmap Facebook page,
Yep.
and I've seen a lot of people posting in there, and it seems to come in different at different times for people. Like for some people, it was 2024 where that realization started to become apparent, and then for some people, like you're saying, it's maybe not even yet. And I think maybe it depends on competition in the area. That seems to be a big factor.
I think to your point is like the website was not the X factor or the ads was not the X factor. It's usually the business owner. Um, you know, the guys that were like flat in 25, like flat in revenue compared to, let's say, 24 or 23, um, there's just a direct correlation that they kept the same stuff. And I think in business in general, like the core thing that makes like a business like very profitable, very understandable is being adaptable. I think
Hmm.
that's like a very forgotten thing. How adaptable are you as a business owner? Are you willing to change with the tide? Um, and the guys that crushed it in 25 when everybody's kind of screaming, a lot of times weren't adding PPF or weren't adding tint. They were adjusting how they do email marketing or texting or how they contact customers. Um, Personalization is like a real thing. I think that's going to be even bigger in 26. But um, at the end of the day is like, if you're not adapting, if you're just getting no responses on the past 30 leads, are the leads shit or is your scenario shit that of how you follow up? And it's not 22 anymore.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. And I've talked about this a little bit. I'd be curious to know what you think. I think some of the success you have with your leads has to do with the foundation you've laid beforehand with the content that you've been putting out for the last few months or year.
Yeah.
Do you think that's true?
Yep. Yep. Yeah. So there's, I'm glad you brought up. I think there's 100% a correlation. If you get a customer who's watched a YouTube video and you hear that on the phone, you might as well just click your fingers, right? It's like done deal because they spent the time. Um, Social media content, even for my own business, was the whole reason we spread like wildfire, if that makes sense. Was I was
Mm-hmm.
willing to get on camera. I was willing to talk through stuff. I was willing to show all the fuck ups. I was willing to show all the good things. People want to buy from people. I can't honestly wait when someone says, "Oh, AI books all my appointments." In the back of my head, I'm like, they're not booking paint protection film. They're not booking. They might do low end detail or tint for sure, but in my head, the consumer is not going to spend $1,500 with someone they don't know.
Mm.
And if I saw you on camera, I mean, I still hear it to this day. Like, I watch your YouTube videos and I want to buy, the best website known to man. But it's because they saw me, you know, even though I have 20 plus staff members who are going to execute that level, they have like a fundamental trust. And that is such an easier person to talk to. And the ROI actually is like insane. If you're putting out 1 to 2 YouTube videos, even just every few weeks, compared to running ads, or even SEO or other stuff, it's just a wildly different kind of close rate, essentially. It's not to the volume of ads, I would say. And that's where most business owners really get frustrated is they see one marketing channel do insanely well and they just kind of expect that level across the board. And the reality is like, it's not. SEO has a different close rate than ads. Ads has a different close rate than someone who came from YouTube. It's just the real business winner is like having all the multiple channels, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And sometimes it takes time to build up a new channel, just like it takes time to learn PPF and get good at it.
Yep. Yep. 100%. The best part is if you show your fuck ups like on the PPF, like that will be like great content. Be like, this is what we're like, we screwed this bumper up, but we're going to redo it. And here's why. I mean, customers will eat that shit up big time.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so like opposite of what most people think about social media. They think it needs to be perfect. And what you're saying is like, no, actually show your mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think you've talked to Raleigh down in Lejeune in the Atlanta area.
Mm-hmm.
I love his videos. He's like, oh, check out this Corvette. Like, this thing sucked. This was the worst thing known to man. But he'll get people that'll like, oh, you worked on that Corvette. And I saw how much pain you went through. Not that the customers want to go through more pain for him for that, but they just like that they're buying from somebody.
Mm-hmm.
This is not some robot installing paint protection. This is still a very hand laid process. I don't care what it is. It comes down to the installer. And so when you're comparing like brands, and nothing against the brands, I love the brands that are out there, the manufacturers. There's definitely qualities of manufacture of tint and PPF, even detailing products, right? But like
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, it's the fingers that are applying that product. And if you're not doing a great job with your content, showing that level of care, it doesn't matter what brand you carry.
Yeah. It's like such a beginner mistake that I see people reaching out to me over and over again is like, what products do you use? And I think it's just it's the people that are new to it and they get super passionate about the products and the process. That's just like the step one. And then once you get into the business, you realize that that stuff doesn't really matter.
Right.
Um, at least not anywhere near as much as you might have thought. Not that it doesn't have a place.
Right. 100%.
And then you kind of realize, like, well, I can't even use these products unless I have customers that are willing to pay me. And so how do I get customers that are willing to pay me? It's like, well, I have to have a good website. I have to have good social media presence. And now it's not even just about being consistent on social media. It's about having content that is relatable and building that relationship with your customers. What do
Yeah.
you say to those people? Because there's been a lot of people I've had on the podcast that, like, they're crushing it on pretty much everything, but it's really hard for them to get in front of the camera. Like, that's
Mhm.
just like, not who I am. What do you say to those kinds of people?
Um, it's a great question. I mean, there's multiple ways you could do this. If you truly, at the end of the day, it's just reps, right? Like the more you get in front of the camera, the better you are. I know by the 50th website that our website at 500 mark looks nothing like the 50th one, even though I thought the 50th one was a killer by then, um, it's just reps. You get more and more comfortable with it. If you don't ever try it, you'll never do it. You know what I mean? So if you don't do it, you know, I hated the gym until I started going 5 days a week. Now it's just like habitual. And I think at the end of the day, marketing is exactly that word, habitual. If you get habitual with it, you'll get comfortable with it. I will say there's also you can really do two other paths. If you truly are like the person who's like, I don't want to be in front of the camera. I got a guy who's amazing behind the camera, but he doesn't want to be in front of it. He's such a good editor. He lights out stuff. He's amazing, and he's a shop owner. He's just so good at it. We're actually trying to like pull him over to us. He's just so good. And the two paths you can go if you really are like, I won't try it. This is not me. The faceless thing is a real thing. Get meta glasses. Mic yourself. I think a lot of people forget about the mic. The mic is just as important as the video, believe it or not. And do the hand point thing. Like, this is what we're doing. This is what trashed PPF looks like. This is what a great install. Here's why you don't want to tint yourself, or here, you know what I mean? Like the point thing is a real thing. I mean, Chris Fix. I don't know if you ever watched him on YouTube where
I
he
haven't.
fixed. He's like just a mechanic. He just fixes cars, but he has never shown his face ever. He has just like must have like a GoPro mounted on his helmet. In fact, he's like ambiguously known for never showing his face. He will always do front facing, but it's all hand point. Like, this is what we're doing. Da 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 da. Come see us. The other option, if you don't want to do the hand point and you won't be on camera, is fire yourself. It's a real thing. I mean, I spent the past 3 years tripling our staff, just purely from the fact that I'm firing myself from the jobs I don't want to do. I love talking about business. I love helping business owners grow. I love kind of helping team members grow. I just don't want to build and write sites the rest of my life. I like kind of doing other stuff, but I've been like slowly firing myself.
Mm.
And it's a real thing in your social media. Like, if you really don't like being on camera, you'd be surprised. You probably can find someone who will be camera. And I think they immediately go to, well, that's a cost. Yeah, but what are you getting back in your time? Where are you more profitable, or where are you more happy in your business? It's a real thing to think about. We're actually talking about that at MTE, literally, of just like how we scaled from a 6-figure team to an 8-figure team. And it's really just finding what you're kind of happy about and incentivizing that. So if you're not happy on being on camera, consider firing yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's a huge, I mean, the website's going to kill it for anyone, right? Whether it's us or anyone. If you do a really good site, you're going to have an increase in leads, a quality up. But I'm just going to be 100% honest. Nothing can make you go super viral like social media.
Mm.
You
I've
know?
been shocked by how many people in the past few months, especially, have told me, I love your social media content, and I've watched so many of your videos, and a lot of people coming in for ceramic coatings. And I looked at our ceramic coating sales this year compared to this time last year,
Yeah.
and they're up over 500%. And so we 5x'd our coating sales. At least that's the way it was in November. And I
Yeah.
think a
And
lot of
it's
that is
just
content.
think about it. How many videos did you do about coatings
A
last
lot.
year? Yeah, a lot. Like 30 videos, you think?
And like from like 2020 into 2024 into now, I think we've done at least a coding video a week of some
Okay.
sort, whether it's a POV or whether it's talking about something about coatings.
So let's just call it 52 videos. Did you add 100 grand of revenue to the business, you think? Total?
Total, yeah. In
So for
ceramic coatings itself, I would say just coatings alone, probably 50.
okay, just at 50. So you got paid basically $900 for every video.
Yeah, crazy.
Math works out, right?
Yeah,
And I just made a post about this the other day. Like, if you know a marketing channel works, why always mix it up? You could push the chips in deeper. If you're hitting black all the time in roulette, don't fucking throw in red all of a sudden. Like, if you're really just hitting nonstop, go for it, dude. Imagine if it now can't wait till PPF, which is a 4x ticket than that.
mm-hmm.
you know
Yeah, yeah. Now it's figuring out how to add in these new services without pulling away from the other ones.
yeah, might have to fire yourself from certain services
Mm.
of even just the social media. Like, can I get a guy in to make 2 pieces of content a week about detailing and ceramic coating and show him how I want it? Obviously it has to be replicatable, but like, that's a real thing. Like, it's worth 50 to 150 grand in your business alone to have coding videos come out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So don't screw with what's working already. Just add to it and do a test. So if you know the 1 video a week on coding is killing it for you, but you want to add PPF or tint video, do you have the labor amount to do it? If you love this more than anything and you're good at it, which it sounds like you are, I would consider adding it. But what can you fire yourself from the business to give yourself those hours back?
Yeah.
And for anyone who's listening, scale. Not everyone has to scale. I just do believe that, like, every business owner goes through this mental hell for the first 3 years, which is you're the accountant, the marketer, the executor, your HR, you're the sales. It's just so hard. But if you get really good at finding people of what they love, you'll find that you can actually let them execute almost at a higher level sometimes than you could. Because if you're not loving what you're doing day to day, and then you get to go do social media instead of tinting cars, you find a guy who loves to tint cars, it's going to make it more fun for both sides, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Naturally, I've always been the guy that preferred the relationship side of the business and not so much the technical, the
Yep.
detailing or the tinting.
Yep. And we always got into it because of the love of it, right? And then it's just a lot of times business owners tend to transition to either the op side or the sales side, usually, or the other. They usually don't want to be the ones ripping film off cars.
Yeah. And that's where you have to fire yourself from whatever it is that you don't enjoy
Right.
doing.
Yep.
Yeah. What do you think? We're in basically January of 2026 now. What do you think
Yep.
are some good things that shops should be doing over the next like 2-3 months to stay busy? I know that you had the gift card, which I think was killer idea,
Mm-hmm.
that you set to expire like March 31st.
Yeah, we can explain it because you can still use that at any time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But that was essentially an idea of like, hey, in December, you could do it in January too. Like, hey, you just call 50 customers and essentially, I mean, there's so many ways to do this, but the dumbest way is you tell them to come pick up their gift card. They can't expect it fact, I actually love it better in January than December because then it feels like it's an annual present. Be like, hey, we just want to thank all of our customers. We had the best year ever. I want you to come in, pick up a gift card, give it to them for $50 if they spend $300 in services or something like that. They're just so not used to somebody calling them and giving them something. Whether they hand that over to a new person they don't know, which is like even better, right? That's a new customer, it's a new referral. And people who might flip out about the $50. I had one guy, he's like, I don't want to give out $50. Like, it costs you $110 to close a lead on ads. I just cut your costs in half.
Mm-hmm.
And you got a referral. Like, you're going to kill it. But if you just give them those gift cards, you'll find out you can pick up pretty easy 10 to 20 grand a month because they're just not used to it. And the second part of that is like, let's say you finish that service for that person, they use $50. You give them 3 more gift cards to give to their friends and you put their name on it. And you can literally say Smith 01, Smith 02, Smith 03 and be like, hey, we love working with people like you. If you wouldn't mind, save these for people who you think want a detail or a tint, you know, people that like you. Don't give them to jerk offs, you know. You say it like that. And like, I would, if you give these out, we'll take care of them just like we take care of you. And just put them in with a note. You'll find you can just explode your business, just that alone.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not adding a wild cost, $50 to get a brand new customer who's never talked to you. You know, referrals are huge, but that is a very easy play of like, you got to make it worthwhile and you got to make it seem genuine. If it seems horsey, people see right through the bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you got to spend $1,000 to get 25. Well, fuck you. I ain't doing that, you know.
This is a free thing. I don't expect anything. This is just for you supporting us. Thank you.
Yep. 100%. So that's a good one. I mean, if you're slow right now, call people. Go to Vistaprint. Get gift cards printed. And, you know, you can get them printed for $20 and get like 100 stack. It is very easy. I don't want to hear anyone call me and say I'm slow because my first answer is going to be, did you ever pick up the phone? Did you ever email your customers? Because that tells me you're so inbound heavy, you had never thought about how to reactivate those past customers. And I think to your question in 26, a lot of businesses are forgetting still to this day. They forget about that channel of like, you know, here's the funnel of leads coming in. They actually forget so intensely about that bottom funnel of when they actually purchased and how do you get them to come back and how do you get them to referral. When we were developing like RPM, I found 91% of shops did not have any major reactivation efforts to bring them back, even after they purchased. This guy blew $1,000 with you. Why are you not talking to him every 6 months? Why is he not on a newsletter? Oh, I don't know how to develop newsletters. Cool. You just literally, you spent all that money getting that customer. You sold them. Why are we not? I mean, that's the hardest part, is getting to that point. The easiest part is actually getting them when they bought from you already, right? Because they know your level of service.
Yeah. And even if it's not today that they buy again, even if you're just checking in, and then they get a new car in 6 months, and now you've added PPF, and you let them know that's just something new you offered.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, when we were building RPM, we built out stuff for 4 years. So if they're buying a coating, you know, we're touching them slightly, giving them education, aftercare, cross-selling. If they don't make actions, they go into a newsletter. You know, the guy who's going to stay in front of your customers, keep in mind your customers, not your leads. The guy who stays in front of your customers, he always wins. 100%. Every time.
Yeah.
So,
any way you can do that too, right? Email, text.
I mean, there's so many good programs out there. Yeah, letters, a phone call. Slow on a Friday, let's start calling 25 people.
Yeah.
Wild.
So have you guys released RPM yet?
No, so depending on when this comes out, um, RPM. I haven't officially announced anything. Of even most people don't even know what RPM is, but um, RPM is our kind of like done for you marketing box, if that makes for sense. So there's so many good softwares out there, like Go High Level, all these softwares that kind of text, email, have automations. But long story short, a lot of them are not set up. They're just the software itself. And then the business owner has to like go figure it out, put all the triggers in, all the automations, the design. And just like websites, like we just did it all, just did everything. Ceramic coating for all the inbound. And then for the next 4 years, this is how this system's going to reach out. We did it for tint, we did it for PPF, detailing. I think vinyl wraps is coming. But that system, we're doing our formal announcement at the end of the month here in January.
Will this be
And
for roadmap partners?
Yeah, I think we're going to do it. We're going to do an application method, believe it or not. So it's not going to be open. The whole reason why is we, short of the done for you model, we notice a lot of businesses, especially in like Go High Level or other systems, they get into this software and nobody trains them how to use it. You know, they use like the very minimal level, like You're Able and Orbis X, which are definitely back of house invoicing software.
Mm-hmm.
This is more the marketing side. But like these softwares are so big, nobody trains anyone. So with our system, we literally have 4 onboardings. Like I got to get your team up and running. We're going to show you how to use it, how to get involved. You know, it's a feedback loop as well. So part of our system is like, teaching the whole team over the course of like a month and a half. Because financially invested into the system as well. So the more happy you use it and the more comfortable you use the software, the more likely you are to stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
For me to hand it to you and expect you to learn everything in an hour is crazy. It's not going to happen. So.
Well, you treat that just like I would treat a ceramic coating customer.
Yep. 100%.
I need to like explain to you how to maintain it, and that way in 3 years from now, your coating's still working and you're still happy with it.
And how quick do you see those eyes glaze over once you start talking about it?
You have to be patient.
Yeah. You're like, hey, you just got to hand wash it, and you can see the eyes starting to like glaze over a little bit.
Yeah. We've been contemplating even offering coatings to those kinds of people anymore, or just telling them like, I don't necessarily know if it's worth the money. Maybe consider doing wax every 6 months instead.
Yeah, or just PPF and kind of put a topper onto it. It's going to be, that's the whole beauty of sales, right? You're really diagnosing what they are, how they are, and how habitual they are in their car process, and what's the right product for them.
Yeah.
How many times are they? And you'll find it out when you put PPF on your site. They're going to ask for protection. They're going to click coating, but they probably really want PPF, most likely. It's such an inverse of what they think is the right answer.
Yeah. One of the things I really like about now being able to offer all these services, window tint, paint protection film, ceramic coating, detailing, is being an advisor to the customer.
Yeah.
Before I did detailing, I was in the finance industry. And in the finance industry, there's the guys that just have their insurance license and they just sell life insurance. And then there's the guys that are the CFA, Certified Financial Advisor. And those are the guys that usually they're more respected in the industry. And that's what I wanted to be with detailing too. And that way, when a customer comes to us, it's like we're not selling something, we're advising them on what product is going to best solve their problem.
Yep. 100%. Yeah. You get a better customer for it if they'll listen to you. Nine out of time, 10 out of time, they'll do it. But you get that one fluke guy who's just all over the place, and it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Anything you tell them, it's like, nope, I want ceramic coating. It's like,
yeah.
okay, we'll do that.
We'll see you in 3 months.
Yep. Well, I guess we haven't officially talked about it yet, but we were talking and we worked out a agreement, and you guys are going to be redoing our website. And I've hinted at it. If anyone that's been listening to this probably knows, but we've been going through a few drafts already, and I'm excited, super excited, just to see the difference that it makes in 2026. I mean, your website, you can speak to this more than I can. This is what you do, but it's your 24-hour salesperson
Yeah.
that um, it is where everyone goes usually before they call you. So I know there's been so many people that have told me, "Oh, your website looks great. It's easy to navigate," and so I'm super excited just to be able to have the best website that there is,
Oh,
and I
I
know
appreciate it.
you guys you guys do the best. So many of the guests that I've had on the podcast have a detailer's roadmap site, and I've just said how easy it is to use, and so I'm super excited um, to be doing this with you, and I can't wait to see what kind of effect it has on our business in 2026.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even for people who are listening, we were interested in doing it with you because, we align so well. And I think I said to you, is like, hey, if we do this, we make, do a few podcasts on it. We want to see, like, even your financial numbers. What was your 24 like with your 25? What was your lead volume versus when the site goes up? Like, so you can see as well, because our system is very trackable, but a lot of old systems prior to it's not. And um, it's a perfect partnership for us. Just being honest, my team's super excited about it, and the reason why is mainly your content, not just your content you do on your podcast, but like you are the perfect customer for us. We do custom sites. We don't kind of pull stuff off the shelf and just wing it. Now there's a method to the madness, right? The writing, the SEO, the conversion factors, but there's one X factor we can never control, and that's the business owner's content. If the business owner has killer content, bar none, our site is going to pound that entire area big time. Because I can get it to show up higher, I can get it to convert better, but honestly, what is the X factor of every site is really the content that goes on it from like a visual standpoint. Like, I can make all these amazing graphics and sliders and all this cool shit, but
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, we want the business owner to be on camera or pictures or videos or something, um, because you will see your close rate will dramatically increase. Now, you had a really great website out of the gate, um, so it'll be, you know, balls to the wall already for us. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So,
one thing that I already know I want to add, because I saw you posting about this in the Facebook page, is an about us section with I'd like to have each employee's a
oh
picture
yeah, 100%.
and talk about like what they specialize in. Like Chris, he's been doing window tint for 7 years now. Here's a story. Here's some things he likes to do for fun. Um, I've seen a few people do that with roadmap sites. Um,
Yep.
I definitely want to add that in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the more you won't get everybody to go to an about me page, maybe less than 10% of your traffic, but the people that do, it's like your YouTube video. It's like if they mention it, it's a high close. Um, it helps really push. We're real people installing this product. I mean, could you imagine a site? I mean, just from a consumer standpoint, I'm a web developer on a podcast. How many web developers can you choose from? But I'm already ahead of the game. I'm on camera. I'm talking about my team. You heard that I'm taking to Mexico. I'm probably going to post pictures of it. But how much closer of a connection that is compared to someone faceless. And
Yeah.
that about me page will kill it for you for sure.
Well, you know how many people in the beginning, especially when I was before I really we had talked, how many people I had on the podcast that said Chris at Detailer's Roadmap. They didn't
Mhm,
just say Detailer's Roadmap. They said Chris at Detailer's Roadmap. Him and his team, they're awesome.
mhm. Yeah. here. That means did it right. So, yeah, I mean, very humble. Very thank you. I appreciate that. That we're very excited to be helping you on to the next stage of your growth for sure.
Do you want
We just
to?
consider ourselves a little stair step, seriously. So,
Yeah. Well, and like you said, it is. There's a lot of other factors, and so please, and throughout this podcast, and in future ones we do too, please let me know what things you think you need from us to help to build out the site. And I know that one thing we talked about was getting pictures of some of the most commonly worked on cars.
yeah.
And but what did you call it? What kind of page?
Yeah, we call it a curated gallery.
Mm-hmm.
And so what Josh is referring to is like if you get, let's say, over the course of a year or 3 months or whatever, all the Corvettes, put them in a folder. All the Ford F-150s, put them in a folder. Maybe all the Porsches. You can start broad. You don't have to be in Porsche 911. You can start broad. But there's what's called it's a sales technique to have a high converting page. Is your consumer at the end of the day wants to understand, have you worked on this before? Right? They think their car is a special acorn, whether it's an F-150, a Tesla Model 3, a Corvette. I mean, how many times have you ever worked on this before?
Oh yeah, lots.
I mean, it could be a Camry, and they're like, it's a unique bumper, which it is, and you'll hear it more on PPF actually.
Yeah.
And so we do what's called a curated gallery. It doesn't cost you anything. Comes out of dev hours, but basically, we can make a page for just all the Porsches you worked on. And the real trick of it is you have maybe just start with like 2 pages and see how they work, but you actually use it in your sales process. So you actually start saying, hey, I know you inquired about PPF, about your Porsche or your F-150. Here's like a page of like some installs that we did, and maybe you have a YouTube video or photos or whatever it is. Immediately, you became qualified right out of the gate. So now you got to think from the consumer standpoint. Here's a guy who installs PPF, or here's a guy who has a whole page dedicated to Ford F-150s, and I've got an F-150. He must know F-150s like the back of his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to spend $300 more with him, or am I going to go with the cheap guy that I'm kind of winging it and I don't see his face, I don't see the cars in his shop? And it's such an easy thing, you know what I mean? It's like if you were interviewing me and I didn't have any PPF tint and detail websites to show you, would you give me a second look?
It'd be hard. It'd be hard to not.
It'd be really hard for Josh,
Yeah.
But it's just qualifications. So if you use that in your sales process, that's the key. So part 1, just comment if you have a roadmap site, whoever's listening, but say, hey, I want my Porsche page. Here's 10 Porsche pictures and maybe a YouTube link. My team will build it out for you. It doesn't cost you anything. It just comes out of your dev hours that we give you per year. Because there's really no writing to it. But they'll do everything. And the second trick of it is you keep that as like a saved email template. That link. Every time a Porsche comes in, or a Ford, or a Tesla, or a Corvette, they just will convert better, hands down. You'll see probably about a 30 or 40% increase in your close rate just by having that page.
Yeah. Even talking to someone on the phone, it's like, hey, let me send you over a website page I've got where it shows all the different F-150s that we've worked on, just like yours, and kind of some of the special things we've done. And just send them over the link.
Yeah, you'll see. It works. It's a huge thing. You got and that's a big thing for 26. Tailoring your messaging to the person you're talking to, right? So
yeah. Do you want to look in at the site and
sure.
Go through a few things?
You want me to pull it up?
Sure. Yeah, I actually don't even know if I have the link to it. So,
yeah, let me pull it up here. Bum, bum, bum.
Is there anything else that you can think of that outside of the curated gallery and the About Us page that you think would be helpful to have on here?
Um, the highest level. So besides curated gallery and the about us page, which are big ones, by the way, those are still like somewhat big ass, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, you're kind of doing. So Josh is already doing all the stuff we kind of ask to create a high converting page, which is a video per page would be ideal. I think it's a big ask, um, but you've already kind of have those big ones already. I would say if there's an opportunity, and I'll probably end up shoving some stuff. And I think PPF is naturally light for you because you guys are just getting into it. Is that
Mm-hmm.
accurate?
Yeah.
And I think this is our video we shot. For
Yes.
those who don't know, we actually went and shot this. This is not Shutterstock. Um, but the big thing is having what we call like a mini gallery per page, and that is like, and I saw it on another one, but I think we should have a mini gallery per page. And a mini gallery is like just the smallest amount of 4 to 5 photos. I think I saw it on window tinting, like something like this.
Yeah.
Just, I would love to have 4 to 5 photos on the detailing page, 4 to 5 on the ceramic coating page, and not just finished cars, but like either, and you have application pictures for sure, but I'd love to have, maybe like some beading shots. So
Mm-hmm.
people are just, you got to speak to the simplest consumer. Um, the other one that I really love that still works really hardcore to this day. Love this video, by the way. Actually, you already did it. So I was gonna say before and after sliders. Um, yeah, you kind of already did it. You kind of have all the
Those
tricks
look
that I
so good.
usually. you kind of have all the little tricks up there. Um, that's a big one. I mean, I always say like take from the best. We just did Ray's site. Ray is one of the biggest expel dealers in the entire nation. And if you see this, you'll see a lot of similarities, right? Of like little galleries, videos. You're kind of doing all the cool stuff. I think level 2 for you would potentially be when you're ready to start getting deeper into paint protection film. We do a lot of these pictures of cars, and then we put them through like an AI, and it turns it matte because obviously you can have matte or a stealth type
Mm-hmm.
of film, because that's going to be a big thing too of understanding it. But the biggest one for me personally, I'd start getting little tiny galleries, like your 5 best photos, just like on the tinting page, because you're already killing it with the videos. You're already going above and beyond what most customers are doing, um, you know, and they're going to literally, this is a buying signal. They're going to look at this and they're going to immediately understand what it is. But we kind of threw all, like we do with every customer, we kind of threw all the toys at it quite a
Mm-hmm.
bit. I think at this stage, to your point, damn, that's a good video.
That is a good video with the headlights.
Did you? I mean, for anyone's listened, Josh is naturally just that type of person who's like, what else can I do? I want to do better. I would say this is head over heels. And this is, even though we laid it out and we made it look good, at the end of the day, a lot of this content is Josh's content, right? I think this is your video.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't shoot this. Josh did. Um, so he's the X factor on a lot of this. He's the one on these videos. I think the curated gallery, to your point, is going to kill it and make things really easy for you. But yeah, it's good. The only thing we're going to do on the front page, it's just not live yet. That's why that popped up. We're going to probably rotate this to have your customer reviews rotate through.
Okay.
So I'm going to make that change, even though I like this, because you run ads to your site, don't you?
Yeah.
I think there's a signal right now with Google Ads that if you don't have a review verified, sometimes they flag the site, versus the review system we put in on your site is
Mm-hmm.
Google reviews that are verified. So I think we'll just have something in here that rotates. Even to the point of, like I was saying, gallery, we could probably put even just like a little mini gallery again right here. you know what I mean, in the middle, or maybe a section in here. But visually wise, not to toot my own horn, I'm pretty freaking happy with this, to be honest.
I've noticed that on a lot of sites, some sites have a still image on the homepage and at the top, and some sites have a
Mm-hmm.
video.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then some videos, it's just after shots, and some videos it's action shots.
Mm-hmm.
D-
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
do you have like a hierarchy of good, better, best when it comes to what to put at the top there?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. Nobody knows what an invisible PPF and an invisible coding is. Um, so for those specific pages, I like the action shots, like what we're showing here. Um, it immediately tells people what is being applied. Um, the one shot that I really love, and you might have seen it in our Facebook group, is I don't know if you saw that video of us of where I put like Mio, like a color flavoring,
Yes, I did.
into a foam cannon.
Hmm.
Like all I'm doing is just basically dyeing the foam on a ceramic coated car, which I think at that time wasn't even ceramic coated. It's just I put a hydrophobic topper in there, but just a little soap and putting a dye color in your foam cannon, shaking the hell out of it, and spraying the car. They can immediately see water dripping, beating off right out of the gate. It's going to make it very easy to sell coatings and say, "Hey, did you see that video on the coating page?" Because finished car photos don't show shit. I mean, all cars look glossy for the most part, 10
Yeah.
feet back. So, um, and I don't know if you know Matt at Harker Heights.
Oh yeah.
Matt has told me for years, he goes, well, I make videos for everything. All my videos are 3 minutes long. And I said, that's awesome. But you have to understand the consumer gets three paths to learn about you. They want to either they can read it,
Hmm.
they can watch it, or they want instantaneous satisfaction. And I think that last one is the hardest one. And that instant satisfaction is like that's why we do those sliders, because they can like, oh, this is before and after, or the foam cannon spraying red bubbles on the car. Instantly, you could tell what it does. You don't have to. I mean, how many times do you go on a website and you're like, I'm not going to watch 3 minutes? You have 24 hours, but you're
Yeah.
not going to spend the 3 minutes. I almost look at that instant satisfaction stuff as like that's the lead up to either a phone call or to watch the 3 minute video. 3 minute video is a big ask. I mean, we're 50 minutes into this podcast. If I didn't capture someone's attention probably in the first 3 minutes, I don't know if they made it all the way through. So just you got to have kind of little snippets for buyer journeys, if that makes sense. And that's a good way. So I kind of think of it like short term, medium term, long form content.
Hmm.
If I can get all three on a page, I knew I threw as much visual content to capture people to let them know what it is, if that makes sense.
Do you think that it's better to have the shorter term instant gratification content closer to the top of the page, or does it not matter?
Yeah, I think at the top, or if it's something that takes a lot of explanation, like that headlight restoration picture,
Mm.
we could put it in the menu as well. So that's called an anchor. So you just have it in the menu, so it's still there. But that's a perfect example is like, you don't want that above detailing,
Mhm.
but it's also hard to explain. But that video tells it perfectly, right? I
Mhm.
mean, immediately. So I like the instant stuff closer to the top, if possible. Um, don't get you wrong. We're kind of making your site. This is the toys we like to throw at it. And I think it's going to be good whether people go with us or not. Of like, this is how they like their cadence, right? 800 to 1,000 words, 12 call to actions. I like having an instant video. I like having a YouTube video, and that's why this partnership is going to be great. Is I know I could throw you a couple ideas, and you're going to throw us a couple ideas, right? It's going to go
Yeah.
back and forth. And you and I are kind of data nerds to a point. We want to make sure it works before we invest into it. So,
Speaking of that, how long? Because I know when you do a new website, it's going to dock the SEO a little bit in the beginning.
Not necessarily. So go ahead, continue with your question. I actually have a whole thing on that.
Okay. Well, I just was curious if it did lower SEO ranking for a little bit. Around how long does it take then to start to rank back up to where it was or higher?
Yeah, so I always kind of put the stipulation, and that's a great question. I wish more people would ask that, to be honest, is that, and when you did a consultation with us with Pat, Pat literally looks at your site ahead of time and he understands what pages are working and what pages are just kind of sitting in the middle. Because I think most business owners, they do this, they Google themselves. Well, they Google themselves on their phone in their shop and then they say, I'm here on list. And the reality is that is a what's called a personalized signal, right? If you're in your location on your phone that you search yourself all the time, who knows? It might even be a keyword that's not super popular. A real thing. People think car window tinting near me is like a high keyword volume. It's not. It's car window tint. 17 times more the keyword volume. I had a guy yell at me last week. He's like, "Oh, I dropped off the bottom." I'm like, "Yeah, but do you ever wonder why you had 30 more leads?" Well, no. I'm like, "Oh, it's because you're in the higher search volume for the other keyword."
Yeah.
Who are you really mad at? You mad at Google? You go tell Google you're mad that you got more leads. But what we do in the sales process is we look at what pages are ranking and what should we just not screw with. I think yours actually had one of those. I think it was the ceramic coating page. Like we
Yeah.
were like, this one's probably not worth screwing with. So we rebuilt it. And so that one's inside the website, but it's not just visible on the menu. And the reason why is like most web development companies screw that part up. They want to sell you something and they don't look at what's currently working for the business. Why don't rebuild the house if you know you love the kitchen and the basement and the bedroom? You don't smash the whole thing down to the ground. You replace portions of the house, or recondition it. So when someone makes a sales appointment with us, literally we hop on and say, we think he's doing good here. Here we use tools like Ahrefs, SEMrush. There's so many good tools out there. And we literally build a sitemap. And I think you saw it with Pat. He showed it to you. Like, this is what your sitemap will be. And if there's anything that we're even slightly unsure of, we always go the safe route and rebuild certain pages. It's just better for you, for us, because I don't want a phone call saying I crashed somebody. And 99 times out of 100, if you do it that way, they go like this. They start here, and then over 30 days, they lift. They don't do this. And
Mm-hmm.
the reason why most people are used to what you said is like, oh, I'm going to say my SEO crash or my ranking crash. Is because the web developer did not do that research ahead of time. So you don't see that big flip down.
Okay.
I think the only one that you potentially might get slapped with a little bit is I think you had mobile detailing on your website pretty heavy on the homepage.
Yeah.
Um, and I think you had set up in the very front, like, hey, we're not really mobile anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a portion of your business instead of all of your business.
Correct.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that changes. That specific, we made a page just for that to try and help. So in that scenario, you'll probably see a dip. Yes. Um, but really, car detailing is the bigger keyword, not mobile car detailing.
Yeah. I did
Does that
get
help?
a
I know that's kind of confusing. I
No, it
apologize.
does. No, it does. It's essentially what you're saying is maybe within the first 30 days, there's a little bit of a dip, but it should pick up pretty quickly after that. And even for like the coding page, it probably won't notice any significant difference.
Yeah, it won't. In fact, because you're technically going from one page to a couple pages on codings. Um, so if anything, you'll see a raise up or a recorrelation. You'll see on the launch call, but essentially what we explain on the launch call is your first 30 days, you really are usually maintaining the same traffic. So if you had 500 visitors per month, you're most likely actually going to have 500 visitors with our site. And you'll start to see it stair step over time. And the reason why is, and I'm kind of tooting the horn before you see it, but basically, this is a Harry Potter sized book on your business, right? It's just a massive freaking book on Belk Detailing. And if I gave this book to your boyfriend or girlfriend or friends on your business, even your own friends would say, fuck that, I'm not reading that shit. You know?
Yeah.
And Google's the same way. They don't want to read all these signals, all these testimonials, all these Google schema things we did on the site, all these images, these YouTube. They don't want to, it doesn't want to read it. And so the first 30 days, what typically happens with a roadmap site is most people see one of two things happen. Either they get more leads than they ever had, which usually means they had a very low converting site prior, or they get more qualified leads. And that usually speaks to the design. The design is usually helping the customer go through the flow of selling themselves. So I usually either get someone who's like, I went from 15 leads to 40 leads in a month, or I get someone who says, I got 40 leads a month in my old site. I'm getting 40 leads again, but I'm closing 50%, not 20. And that's why we know if you do PPF for 10, the website typically pays off itself in 30 days. If you're doing just detailing, it's 90. So didn't mean to go on a tangent there, but was kind of just giving you the MO. So when Google is absorbing that site for the first 30 days, it's usually a stair-step process. It takes about between 3 and 6 months to have what's called a landed result of where you'll actually newly rank. But you really won't see a lot of shifts. We use tools to make sure, once again, I do not want a phone call. And my team knows this. I do not want a phone call of you crashed my rankings. So we put a lot of effort into that.
Okay.
Because I really don't want that phone call. That's not a fun phone call. So thank God, knock on wood, haven't had to do one of those in a few years. So
Cool. Well, I also wanted to ask about the Google business page because on our last podcast, you mentioned getting a DBA if you are going to be changing the name that you do business under on Google. So
yeah,
we have been doing business as Belk Mobile Detailing, but I went and filed a DBA for Belk Auto Detailing, Window Tint, um, ceramic coatings, and paint protection film, I believe. It's
sure.
something to that extent.
Yep.
And I know we can file more. They're like $7 for a year.
Yep. Yep.
Or for 5. I think it's for 5 years, actually. It's super cheap. So now that we've gotten that DBA filed, and you had made a post about this on the Facebook group, it's not as simple as just changing it on Google, is it? Do I need to go and change it on anything else first, or is that the address that I'm getting it confused with?
You're actually together. You're correct. So that's called an NAP, which is called a name, address, phone, data. And so what Google doesn't, what he's kind of alluding to is Google doesn't want to guess on the information, if that makes sense. They like really strong signals. They want to know that the business is called this. I can direct my users who use Google at this phone number. I want to direct them at this address. And so what you're talking about is it's called an NAP, or some people call it citations. So it's or backlinks from Yelp, Google. Most people forget about Apple Maps. Most people forget about, believe it or not, Better Business Bureau. As much as those guys are tough to deal with, just even having a listing on there helps. And it looks at all those signals and says, this is what these guys are called, this name change. Here's this address. And if there's a majority of them are 100% accurate, it just helps your authority to Google. So the realistic answer is like, so you're calling yourself Belk Detailing, and then you kind of have this adjunct after, right? Tint, PPF, ceramic. You could really probably call yourself Belk Detailing across the board if you want to keep it short. Or if you want to do the full McGavin, we can do it that way. And that's called a citation boost, where you can have us do it, or you can manually do it too. But we go to what's called the 50 highest ranking ones in your area. So it might be, Springfield, Missouri's businesslisting.com. It would be Apple Maps. You probably already took care of Google Maps, like you said. But a lot of people forget about Instagram. A lot of people forget about Foursquare, which is a big listing. Dex knows we use. So we use a service that literally puts it on the highest ranking ones. Because it's kind of painful to do it, to be honest, because you have to verify the business again. We need that DBA letter. We kind of do it all for you, or you could do it yourself. But you should change it is the answer, across the board. And I think you said you potentially, do you think you'll be moving in 26?
Yeah, no, I'm going to be moving I need to move my address by the end of January.
Okay. So when you move, because I think you're rotating it to a different address, you're going to do it on Google Maps first, and make sure that's verified and let that go through. And once that verification is good, then we'll do the citation fix across the board for everywhere. You will see a little disruption because I think you had a certain address and now you're going to a new one.
Mm-hmm.
By nature, you're pulling somewhere else in the map pack when you do that, right? You're saying I'm 15 minutes that way now. So you will see a little bit of a disruption no matter if we do a citation or you don't. The idea of the citation boost is that it gets all that data aligned so that it comes back quicker. If you said you're on Smith Street and you're going to Main Street and 20% of the listings say Smith and 80% say Main, Google really doesn't like having that massive fluctuation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. When we talked last, I think you said you felt like it was better to have the services in your Google business listing. Do you
It
still feel that
is.
way?
Yep. It still is. It's a real signal. If you look up top signals for Google business map pack rankings, having PPF in your name is going to do better than Auto Spa. I know Auto Spa sounds better, but I'm called Detailer's Roadmap for a reason. Let's just put it that
Yeah.
way. I'm not called, Web Roadmap. I'm called Detailer's Roadmap for a reason, if that makes sense. So, yeah, having a literal keyword in your name is the best move by far. So,
Okay. Yeah, we're going to be changing the address to the car wash that we're at, and it's going to get a little weird. Be curious to know your thoughts on this because there's not a separate mailbox for we have two bays at this self-serve car wash, and the car wash is in a fantastic location. Like there is a lot of very wealthy neighborhoods right around there, and there's no other detailers or window tint shops around there either. It's very isolated. So I was doing a little bit of research, and some sources were telling me to go ahead and put bays, put the address of the car wash and put bays 1 and 2, even if that's not an address with your city. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's really what Google will let you get away with. And I wish there was a for sure answer. I know if I were to do this, if I was in your scenario, I would ask the car wash if you can put on the mailbox, you could put Belk Detailing bays 1 and 2, or suite 1 and 2, just on the front of the mailbox, just to give that little bit of indicator to the USPS. So how this is all done, if you go to USPS, you actually have to use the same address for your Google business location. So a lot of people actually screw this up because a lot of times they'll actually type out suite 1A or suite 2A, and it might actually be on USPS, might be STE 1. But in this scenario, he's one address. He doesn't have a suite. He doesn't have a bay. So I wish I could give you 100% for sure answer. But I would probably, at the very least, ask him to put, do you have signage, road signage up?
Yeah, it's on the car wash, but there is signage around there.
Okay, so you've done the hardest part. I'll say that, because what's going to happen is when you go to Google, you move the address. They're probably going to make you do what's called a video verification. And my team can always send you the video, but it's me running to the front of the road saying, "Here's my sign," You go to the door where I would probably just put a vinyl lettering, Belk Detailing again.
Mm-hmm.
You try and open the door, it's locked, and you turn a key to unlock it. So you're showing Google that you own the business. That's what that move is. And then you walk in and you show that. Those three pieces are the pieces you need to verify. Is a road signage, an actual address, and then that lock move. You'll see it in the video verification if they ask you to do it.
Okay.
So for me, the road sign is the biggest part. You took care of it. If you want to go one extra little step just to make sure USPS gets it, put your name on the mailbox too. And say for the car wash, be like, hey, I'm going to put your name on the front of your car, on front of the mailbox, if that's cool with you. Because I'm going through this process, I'm going to also put our name below as well.
Okay.
I think you'll be okay. It's not, depends on who's watching Google's business verification that day, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And most people don't know this, but it's outsourced is half the problem with that.
Oh, wow.
So there's ways around it. If you get stuck, keep us in the loop. I might have some referrals that can do it, but I think the road signage was the big one.
Now, does the road signage need to be exact for the DBA, or if it says Belk Detailing on the sign and the DBA is Belk Auto Detailing, window tint, PPF, is it going to be okay?
Yeah, you'll be fine. You want to go one extra step, order the full name for the Vistaprint, put some vinyl letters on the front door, even just something temporary. I think they're going to ask you for that video verification, would be my guess. Because you're not just moving a suite over, you're moving streets over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Cool. Well, Chris,
nothing like super confidence of like, we don't know what's going to happen, right?
I know that's how Google is, though.
Yeah.
That's how Google is, and
Yep.
It sucks, but it sounds to me like it'll work out. It's just how it will work out. That's kind of might be a few extra steps. Could be.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Well, cool.
Hell yeah.
Well, thanks again, man, for coming on. Let's do it again here in a few months. And I can't wait to see the website actually go live and the finished product of it. I'm super excited.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. So thank you again for choosing us if I haven't said it before. And we're excited to kind of show your viewers the process too. It's going to be super fun.
Yeah. Well, everyone, I'll put the link to check out Details Roadmap in the site notes. So you guys can go check that out in the description. So
awesome. Cool. Happy holidays, and let's kill 26 for you.
Yep. That sounds good. Thanks again, Chris. And thank you everyone for listening.
Thanks.